guys.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Tuesday Drive Live. We just hanging out. Hey, what's
Trinette,
up? Trinette, how you doing? What's up? We just hanging out tonight. We're playing that old school.
Loretto.
We don't own the rights to this music either.
We do not own the rights. This is Tony.
That's right. We're going
What's the volume?
a little old with it. I forgot my girls can barely hear.
Vanessa, hey.
Hey. What's going on? So we are on here tonight. We do not own the rights.
She says I live for Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Bless your heart. Aww.
We do not own the rights to this music. All right.
And you.
Yeah, so that is Tony. Just me and you. So,
Hey.
what's up? We do not own the rights to just
Hey,
me and you.
Curtis, welcome.
What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, we don't own the rights to that material, that musical
Hey,
material.
Ray.
Ray, what's up, boy?
She said I could sing that song too.
I heard that. So we're going to take a different approach on just me and you and just talk for a minute about people that are married that think it's just going to be me and you. So people that think they're getting married and it's just going to be me and you, no, it don't really work like that. So in reality, that's not a factor.
It's me, you, the cat, the dog,
And your whole family.
your whole family.
Even your crazy uncle.
Yep.
And it's the simple fact that when you're single, you think it's just me and him or you and her and whoever it may be.
Absolutely
but
not.
It's not. Because there is a spiritual transfer that does happen when even single people have premarital sex. So we're going to come from both angles.
Hey, Janelle.
What's going on? We coming from both angles. So people that choose to have premarital sex, it really could be just you and his legion. Or you and her legion.
Ooh, legion, you know. Oh my gosh.
It could be a
It's
lot.
true. Loretta says, yep, your in-laws and your outlaws, they're in there. They sure are.
Man, I'm telling you. So a lot of stuff can happen when you decide to think it's just you and her, because it can be more to it than that. Sometimes we think that too, like I'm just having sex with this person, and you really are taking on every person that they've been with. So you take on quite a bit when you choose to be intimate with somebody. Even the word intimacy, it really is a word.
Intimacy.
Yeah. It's a lot to digest when you think about what that is. I have to
look into me. Oh.
You have to totally open yourself to somebody and submit to them, and that's a lot to give somebody that you ain't planning on spending no time with or being, invested in. What's up, Eric?
Oh God, he gonna chime in tonight.
It's a lot to offer that much of yourself up to for nothing, just for kicks. So it's not really a good.
But guess what? When you're living when you're living from your flush,
as the old people. The old people used to say, flush.
When you're living from your flush.
Your flesh.
Right? He said, I'm done with Bev. Don't be done with me. I'm cray. I can't help it. When you're living from your flush.
Not your toilet flushing. Your flesh.
You got other stuff that you flushing out. Hey! Glory.
Oh, man.
That was nasty.
That was nasty. Ooh, this girl.
No. He said, ain't nothing wrong with that. He said, ain't nothing wrong. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, when you're She said it's fornication. It's adultery. Look, there's some people who's adulterating.
Yeah, they tripping.
Anyway, but when you're living from your flesh and you just, this phrase that's going around, I'm just doing me.
Yeah,
okay,
you think you are.
Do you taking on some spirits?
Taking on a lot of spirits. And the man was in the graveyard.
Okay, look. We're all people are chiming in today. Relationships without Christ in it is very dangerous. That is so true. I know a lady who was faithful to an unfaithful husband who cheated with a woman whose boyfriend is HIV.
Ooh,
positive. And as a result, she has to be tested every 6 months, and all she did was love her husband and be faithful to him. It's sad. It really is.
Man.
It really, really is sad.
That's right.
We take sex lightly, right? And I'm just gonna be transparent. I'm an open book. I took it lightly.
I don't take mine lightly. I usually like it a little rough. Oh, there you go.
Did you go there?
Oh, I'm just messing with you, girl.
No, you're not.
Go.
No, you're not. The pastor said it.
Ooh,
he said that.
I don't want mine lightly.
Okay. So, yeah, we tend to take. Hey, Randy. We tend to take sex flippantly.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good. That's
you
a
like
good
to
comeback.
flip it, huh?
Yeah.
You like to flip it.
Flippantly.
Ah! Woo! This is going left field. Okay. He said, "Help him, Jesus." Yep. So, we take it flippantly. We just, it's a casual thing. Like, let's just do the do. Yeah. And I'll say for me, I'll just be transparent. Like, that's how I saw it. Like, I like you, you like me, let's do this. How you work it? It says, smack it, rub it down. Lord, help this man. Oh, God. Hey, Vanessa. So, and we don't realize what he says. Smack. Oh, my gosh.
Smack it, rub it down. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, we know the music you used to listen to.
90s, boy. 90s.
He's a true 90. You didn't hear Tony. Just me and you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, we take this thing lightly and we don't realize what we're introducing ourselves to. Janelle says, with Christ, we know what we are going to get. So without Christ's base, it opens Pandora's box.
Man, you ain't
Now,
lying.
here's the thing. I'm going to throw a curveball in here.
Throw that curveball.
All right, so I don't know how I'm going to come back from this. Hey, Willie Coleman.
Brother
Cole. He's going to be one to talk about
Brother
this.
Dean.
He loved talking about Willie Coleman. Right, we talk about sex.
Yes,
relationships. Demons, legions. Right? Transferring of spirits.
Yeah.
So... What was I going with this? I can't remember what I was saying.
To talk about, I think you was about to go premarital.
What? See, my brain just went.
But I was thinking about, y'all, we so silly, because in my brain, while she was talking, I was just thinking about, how do you say, just me and legions? Like, how do you turn that song, just me and legions, just me and legions?
He says, speak on Pandora's box. You really do open up a can of worms, really, and you open up Pandora's box. Oh my gosh, why is my brain going blank? Help me out, babe.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this.
It's gonna come back to me.
Most people, including church folks,
That's
may
what I was
not
gonna
want
say.
to talk about it. But
I got it. Right. So I said I was going to throw a curveball in here, right? So, as the body of Christ, we teach, right, that we you don't have sex before marriage, right? This is a God ordained. He said the hat. What's wrong with the hat? Oh God, help him. So we teach that we should not have premarital sex. It's ordained by God, all this kind of stuff, and that is true, right? It should be between a husband and a wife. Hey, Lisa. Should be between a husband and a wife. I have heard a situation, like some people are like, yeah, I'm saved and everything, but I need to test the waters beforehand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there are some people who have not tested the waters beforehand, right? Probably have never had sex before.
And they might be good.
No, when they get into it, it's awful. It's terrible.
Oh, wow.
Even though it's a marriage sanctioned, like it's ordained by God, like, and it's just their sex life is terrible. It's horrible.
And they're struggling now.
How are you gonna speak on that? And
well,
so when they leave that relationship and now they go into another relationship, they're like, I can't go through that again. I need to test the waters before I do anything because it was just awful before.
Yeah. Well, if they did,
Pastor, how do we talk about that?
If they didn't get married and they chose to do that, let's hit this area that most of us good Christian folks have tested some waters. So you've gone out there and done some stuff, and it probably was not sanctioned.
Oh, she said, what if he is small?
It's not sanctioned and ordained by God. So you've kind of jumped off into a realm that you probably shouldn't have, and now you've opened up some stuff now. So even if you do get in a good relationship, you carrying some stuff from that old thing that little baby used to do this thing, and now I can't get nobody to do that, and it puts you in a bad situation because you have illegal expectations. And the expectations are a part of your flesh that don't go anywhere. So how do we deal with that?
Hey, Ashley.
What's up, Ashes? So how do we deal with that? It is a tough situation to be in. That's what I can tell you. And you really have to have some open dialogue and conversation with your mate and explain to them where you are. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to be perfect because it depends on how far you open that Pandora's box up. You got a square husband now or a square wife, and you've been out, doing all kind of craziness, and you come to Christ, y'all get married and this and that, and it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to ask God to really wash your mind, your spirit, and your tendencies, because some people are into some pretty out there stuff.
So,
yeah,
when we started talking, I asked him a whole lot of questions.
She did.
I'm just going to be honest with you. One of the things that kept me from becoming saved for a very, very long time was sex. I was like, I like this.
And that's the millennials. They don't want to say that, but babe, there are a lot of people that their determining factor for not being saved is party and sex, stuff like that. That we consider to be fun and normal. And I'll just be straight up. I was like, I've had good experiences, and my thought process of a Christian saved man was he's boring, dry. I'm not trying to do all that. I like who I like, and that's it. And so when I met you, I was asking questions. I fulfilled all that for her. I was so bored. No, listen, I got my do-rag on tonight. I had to switch it up sometimes with Lady B. I'm gonna have to be like, I gotta be.
You gotta thug it
out some days. I don't know. So we gotta.
You tell him.
We gotta mix it up a little bit. But I think
you have to be specific when you're praying for a mate.
Yes, Lord.
I was very, very specific.
Yeah.
God had something else in mind.
I've been praying for, and that's a touchy one too, because you praying for Shaka Khan to show up at your house, and you ain't getting no Shaka Khan. Just go on and leave that alone. And then if you do get Shaka Khan, you're gonna be trying to shaka out your house. So you have to be careful. Yeah, pray and then be open to what God allows to come in your direction. Because I'll be honest with you, I had at one point unrealistic expectations, but God totally flipped my expectations over the years.
Being shared, that is a huge issue. so many people say they are saved. Is that supposed to be saved? But are they really living by God's word? No,
Man.
no, they're not.
No, it's not.
No, they're not.
There's a lot of people. Let's be realistic now.
That's not reality. Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that they really do have a heart for God. They really do probably love God.
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy, what's up?
Thanks for joining us.
But like,
being saved, I mean, we got you.
But what I said is like,
hey, Cameron.
It's a tough one to make that switch from I really love God to I'm living totally right. And ain't none of us gonna be living totally right. Thank God for Jesus living totally right, because he makes it possible for us to attain salvation. I don't care how good you are and how much sex you pass up, you still are not totally right.
It's a work in progress.
One of my boys on Facebook today, he put up a post and it said, man, I ain't about to let this weed or this drink prevent me from being with Christ. And one of the dudes commented on his post. E-Man. One of the cats commented on his post and he put a picture of Nicki Minaj waving money. And I was like, that's a tough one. Because most guys are either going to fall for something. And guess what? It takes God to hold us in position, because if weed and smoke ain't your thing, well, money and girls might be your thing. And guess what? We all have to be cognizant that without God's help and assistance, we all will fail.
Here is a scripture that people get wrong. Don't tell me where it's quoted, right? It says, I can't be with nobody boring. I hear you, Vanessa.
It's true.
Right? So here is a scripture that people misquote. He gives you the desires of your heart. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's my desire, so he gonna give me what I desire.
Yeah.
No, your desires have to line up with his desires.
That's right. That's right. Because if you would have married Boris Kojo,
he knows what you need.
If you would have married Boris Kojo, you know you would have never made it to church. You would have been serving God at your house. Oh my God!
Let's
oh
see
God!
What this is. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what about the people that marry, but Christ is not at the head of their marriage?
You know, and it is. There are a lot.
I like girls. Pray for me. Help this.
This dude is so silly.
Okay.
Listen. There are a lot of people that have successful marriages that are not in God.
And I know quite a few of them.
And guess what?
They got beautiful marriages.
They have lovely marriages. And God is love, so they still find success in those marriages. So the devil...
And the marriage is ordained by God.
That's right. It is.
It's like people who pay tithes, right? They're not saved,
blessed.
But they send their money to a local church or whatever and they pay their tithes. They're going to get blessed because it's a principle that's ordained
by God. Yeah, and that's true. So,
hey, Eva.
Sister Scunions. So they definitely are going to have.
I'm just calling people by their first name.
That's fine. Everybody is people. We can use our first and last name. She is a pastor's wife too.
Oh.
So
I'm sorry, woman of God.
I really do see people as having great marriages inside and outside of God, because anything that you do successfully that's ordained by God. He
said, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thy give you the desires of the heart. That's it. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yep, that's it. Because once you delight yourself in God,
him,
he sometimes changes our desires.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's not going to change who you are.
No.
You still going to probably like thick girls, or you know whatever it is that you like. But you're not
thicker than a Snicker.
Oh, you got to be thicker than that. So you're going to like what you're going to like, but guess what? God will kind of adjust some of those things in you and make it more attainable and realistic. So you aren't, sitting up and fantasizing about Boris Kojo or whoever it is. So marriage is a good thing, and sex in marriage is a great thing.
I like 6-packs and I cannot lie.
I got her a 6-pack of pop the other day and she didn't drink none of it.
And God gave me a 1-pack.
Ooh. And a good 1-pack, a solid 1-pack too.
Thank you, God.
So I would say from the single standpoint, though, you really, 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 and you have to be careful in marriage and outside of marriage with sex and all of that, because even in
this
a
is probably
marriage,
going to be a 2-part conversation, because we could go so in depth.
Oh yeah, we could. Even in a marriage.
Stop it. Hey, Connie.
I want to go back to that thing. The girl, what was that? A girl or guy said he was too small.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody hit on that.
Size matters.
So all size matters. So we're going to talk to you for a minute about that. So I'm not going to run from that conversation. So you think about it. If you got your guy, and I don't know if she's talking about somebody directly or indirectly, but if your guy is that dude, you better find some different plans. You better find some different plans. I'm not talking about don't marry that guy or don't get with him.
So are you saying if he's, I'm asking the person who asked, right?
Yeah.
If you're saying he's too small, what you saying? You go out on a date and you just, how you gonna know he's small? You just gonna have to rub it for a while. Just we gonna rub.
Take your pants
off. I see what you working with, huh?
But it is that is
all size does not matter.
That is a tough situation to be in, because if you are in that situation, you are going to have to be creative to make your sex life work, because that's not a good place to be.
If he is shriveled up, I'm passing him up. Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Hey, I bet you half these billionaires is probably like, bing. Tony Bezos or all these cats, I don't know who they are, who knows? They might be like, I don't have, I'm just this little guy, but I got billions. I bet some of y'all be like, well, we might be able to work something out.
Wow.
Whoa, Jesus.
Here's the thing, when you've had experiences before,
yeah,
and the experiences have been good, that's a tough one.
What's up, Diane? Good to see you, girl. One. Yeah, so it is. No, I will say that this is God's truth, because when you have, like I said, you open Pandora's box up and you've experienced some stuff that's kind of out there, and then you got to go backwards, man. You really, you have to really talk to God about that.
That's a lot of fasting and praying.
Man, that's serious right there. And then I think too,
conversation.
I think it's actually...
I know if a guy is big or small without sleeping with him, Jesus help us tonight. OMG. You looking at the size of his feet.
Hey, y'all know.
His shoes is big. Okay then. I know what he working with. It's a lie from the enemy.
Because y'all know I wear a size 35 shoe. And y'all see, you can't look at a man's hands and be like, oh my God, you better just really figure out a way. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get my shoes off this gas pedal, because I don't even have to put, I can get in the back seat and hit the gas pedal.
I can't stand him right now.
Oh my goodness. So listen though, it really is a catch-22 with single people and with married people, because you don't know what married people do it now. You gotta have open conversation.
Look, Vanessa's going in. I will leave him if he's small. Okay, so here's the flip.
Yeah.
Supposing he's humongous.
Ooh. Now,
and you can't manage.
I got somebody that I have a direct relationship with.
Don't speak no names.
And I ain't gonna use no names because his phone will be blowing up. So let's just say his name is Kwame. And he has...
Diane said, I would too. She said, y'all are too funny.
He has a situation going on where he's extremely well endowed, and his wife cannot deal with it. She can't deal with it. She's tried everything. They've tried counseling. They've tried to, do all kind of stuff. And she just cannot handle him. He is too much. And she's been torn. She has...
That didn't sound right.
Yeah, but it's the truth.
No, but torn
internally. Yeah.
No, but that could be like he tore her.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna. Well, you know what I mean. She has some physical and medical conditions tied to having sex with her husband. So that situation kind of gave me an insight, man, that I was like, wow, that's the same problem I'm having.
Oh my gosh, I can't do this tonight.
Man, he talking about me. Anyhow, though, it is a tough situation to be in because...
Okay, Vanessa, you doing way too much. She says, I like pain.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, but he is in that
Lord,
situation in
help us,
real life. And his wife, at one point, this particular person was like, I'll give you clearance to go out and do what you do.
Wow.
And that's
sad.
really bad.
Yeah.
You know, wear protection, do whatever the case, but I cannot live up to doing this. So she says,
who are they? I need to pray for them, Father. Oh my gosh. I knew this conversation was going to go this way.
Y'all are crazy.
See, look careful, babe.
I see him. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's where we at, though, y'all. You know,
where we at?
You got to be seriously conscious of what can happen in sex.
Lots of conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
Lots of conversation. My mother told me from when I was my mother told me from when I was growing up, like, no sex before marriage. And to be honest with you, some of the issues, be transparent, some of the issues like we've had in marriage because of certain experiences, like you coming from totally different. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see what you were saying. Okay, sorry.
There's Ed. Oh. Ed McCrae, what's going on?
Sometimes you open up yourself to stuff that you really are not ready for and cannot handle, right? You take on spirits. Sometimes you having sex with people, right? And you're taking on that spirit. You start behaving. Have you seen somebody who they start dating somebody and they just start looking really ugly? No, seriously, it's not a joke. Like they start looking broke down, like mashed. Like what happened?
No,
right? And it's like the spirit they're taking on through that person through having sex with that individual. As soon as they leave them, they go back to them. They look vibrant again. They look whatever. And no, don't start saying this about because they was tired. They was doing it all the time. No.
But it is true though. You can lay down with,
and they just mess you up. You just look terrible.
It's a phrase that says when you lay down with dogs, you come up with fleas.
Okay.
And that could be a very true statement. Yeah.
She said they don't want to hold out. I didn't get.
Okay. But there is a lot of situations tied to sex, and that one is
you are taking on spirits that you ain't ready for.
It
Put it that way. And I'm saying, like, for me, I know when I gave my life to Christ and God was preparing me to be a wife, it was amazing. I watched No More Sheets by Juanita Bynum, and I remember going to bed that night, and a friend of mine actually spoke to me, and she was saying, you know, you're going to have to renounce every person that you have slept with in order to prepare yourself for your husband. And I was like, what are you talking about? Wow. And she's like, because you're going into a marriage already married. I'm like, what are you talking about? I ain't never been married before. And she said, but the men that you have slept with, you're still tied to them. So in the spirit, you're married through sex, and you need to free yourself for your husband. And I was like, wow. And you know what? I went to bed that night and I was praying and whatever, and God brought up every single person, whether I'd slept with them or just kissed them or whatever, and brought them up, and I literally had to call their names out and renounce them from my life. Before I got together. It was like the most amazing, scary experience I ever had. And I just, I felt free. But here's the thing, even though getting into the marriage, I still had memories.
Right,
Your memories don't go.
It's true. And
so spiritually, God had purified and was cleansing me, but I was bringing stuff back through memory into my marriage.
And you really can mess up some things doing that, because not that you can erase your memories. You really can't, because you're gonna have those memories. But I think when those memories become the forefront of your love experience, that's a tough situation to be in, because now you bring in another person into your bedroom.
Another people.
Yeah, another people's. Legions. Just me and legions. You don't want to bring all that into your situation. So that's what I'm saying.
It's a serious thing. You get with look, this can go really, really deep, right? Mm-hmm. So there are things that you were doing with a particular person or particular people that you enjoy, right? And I say, well, it could be men or women, right?
Yeah.
Vice versa, whatever, right? Things that you particularly enjoy. You get into this relationship, and because you enjoy it, this is something like you want to do. You ain't had no conversation. You get married, you start having sex with this person, and you start doing this thing that you enjoy, and this person is like climbing up on you.
Don't
You're
do
like,
this.
Like, what are you? And you haven't had a conversation, and you find out like, this is a really bad memory for this individual.
Yeah. Oh my God,
it's a bad memory for the individual. Yeah. Like, okay, so you like, I'm going to get raw with you. You like doing this thing. You like pulling their hair, right?
Yeah.
And for you, that's a turn on.
And every time she sees
you grab her hair, she's like, oh my God, that was when.
Crying. Tyrone, you used to beat me up and do that.
Or it could be she was raped.
Yeah.
And the person who was raping her was pulling her hair.
True,
and she don't find that sexy or appealing.
Yeah.
Right? You got to have major conversation. And there's some stuff that you need to really ask God to take out of your spirit.
It's
like,
true.
Really take out of your spirit. I still will not be with someone small. Okay. She going to keep harping on that one. Okay.
Hilarious. But it is a true fact. You really do have to gauge your spouse. And because,
you gotta have conversations, man.
Yeah, most of us getting married after we've done stuff, it will be a beautiful thing to think if you had never had sex when you got married and you and your wife were both learning. You explore
each other together.
Oh my God, that would just be something that would
and
be
this is something
amazing.
That for us, like, this is what we're doing in our house. Like, you can't control your kids,
mm-hmm.
but the way that my parents approach me talking about sex, I'm talking to the boys different now.
Yeah, I'm talking to them from I got a book that we've been reading. It's called Every Young Man's Struggle, and it really is a book that kind of walks you through the progressions of how you can get on a bad track sexually. So I've been reading that with my sons, and it's a really good read. Sister Jamita, if you seeing this, you kind of hit me to that book. So thank you for that. It has been a huge help, and my sons really are being enlightened by it.
Yeah, and we're just hoping, because it's like we're in a generation now where it's not just, I'm putting it out there, we're in a generation now where it's not just I'm sleeping with a boy or I'm sleeping with a girl. Now we've got a thing where you can sleep with whoever you feel like.
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to be now, and everything's cool. Just explore.
Yeah.
You are inviting spirits that you are not ready for.
And you better.
And they're doing it.
Pictures.
They're putting this message out, making it younger and younger for these kids, and they don't have the wherewithal to. They're doing grown folk stuff with an immature mind.
Yeah, it's true. And on top of that, they're doing stuff that now that's like ridiculously against God's will, so, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but there's a lot of transgender, you don't know what sex they really originally are, and now you get into a relationship with them and you find out, and that just doesn't. It's a rough generation for the kids to be dating and marrying now, because you really need to be able to check their background and really understand some stuff about them. Now we could go to a whole nother phase though of thinking of that there's people that are born with both sexes.
Oh yeah, hermaphrodites.
That is like a whole nother conversation, but
hermaphrodites. That's an interesting one. That one was a real eye opener for me.
Me too. Now I can't really go into that tonight because we don't have enough time. We so far over.
Hey Pavlo, are we?
We're so far over. We had almost 8:40. We almost had a 20-minute show. So, or 40-minute show. I'm sorry. So we are done. We gotta wrap up for tonight. But I really wanted to.
We don't want to overload you, but it's a loaded. We might have to come and revisit this again because it really is. It's a lot. Sex is really nothing to play with.
Man.
It's not just about diseases. It's not just about that.
It's a spiritual tool.
It really is.
It's unifying. It makes 1 + 1 = 1. So when you think about it in that sense, and I even think too, and I got to get ready to wrap, but even like when you think about the vessels that God created, the male and the female, it's a lot into that too as well. The dynamics are totally different. So we'd have to kind of hit on that if we come back with this subject. But for tonight, we are done. We are pastors, y'all. We pastor Greater St. Matthew Church, and we want to invite you to come out and worship with us. We will not probably be telling as many jokes on a Sunday, but
he does.
We will. Sometimes I do tell jokes even on a Sunday, but we will have a good time with you. We are just open to doing ministry, doing life with you. So we invite you to worship. We start at 11:15 every Sunday morning, and we start on time every Sunday. So here's our address. It's 2705 Marquette Boulevard, South Bend, Indiana, 46628. And that's Greater St. Matthew Church. We're a life-changing ministry. And we invite you to worship with us. Come hang out with us. And we love y'all. We just want to try to share some of the stuff that we've been going through and we've dealt with. And, thankfully, God has brought us to 10 years. And we can't wait for the next 100 years. I'm trying to love this girl. Did you see the post he put up
for me the other day?
Yeah, I'm trying to love this girl.
Boo boo.
She's so
silly. That was so sweet.
Yeah, I'm trying to love.
You just want to declare it to the world.
I'm declaring to the world
how much you love me.
That's right. Hey,
I had to read it with a dictionary. Did you guys have to read it with a dictionary? Cause I don't know what he talking about. It sounded good though. Not really.
That's hilarious. All right, really. Y'all. We love y'all. We got to get off here. Peace.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Yep. Bye bye.